My name is Gabe. I spent years in the trades, and now I spend my time tracking industry changes that actually matter to service business owners like yourself. This is the Trades Brief. No bullshit, no fluff, no opinions, just what changed and why you should care. 10 minutes or less, that's my promise. Today is 7 January 2026, and here's the update. Bottom line up front, residential HVAC demand is flat going into 2026. Equipment prices are still rising, and that combination makes replacement conversations with your customers harder, not easier, even as your costs go up. So this week, major HVAC manufacturers are signaling that residential demand is expected to stay relatively flat heading into early quarter one of 2026, while prices are still going up for you. Companies like Trane and Carrier are describing the slowdown in residential as cyclical, not permanent, which makes sense due to the time of year, but at the same time, they're planning mid-single-digit price increases due to continued material cost, especially with copper and aluminum. And that combination matters to you. So flat demand plus higher price creates pressure right in the middle of the market, especially for contractors who rely heavily on residential replacements. So in practical terms, it means replacement conversations may get harder, not easier, even as your costs continue to arise. So at the same time, commercial HVAC demand is holding up better, particularly around data centers and large facilities where backlog remains strong. So we're starting to see a widening gap between residential and commercial work as we move into 2026. So why does this matter for service businesses is pretty straightforward, but if residential demand is soft and equipment prices are rising, how you position repairs versus replacements becomes more important for you as your business. It also affects how you think about inventory, quoting, cash flow, etc. Because carrying your equipment gets more and more expensive, and then bad assumptions get punished faster in this type of industry. Another big piece is customer perception. So when prices rise in a flat demand environment, homeowners tend to shop more. They ask more questions and push harder on explanations with your quotes and your estimates. So if you're not clearly explaining why pricing looks different than it did definitely a few years ago, but maybe even a few months or weeks ago, customers will assume it's your business and not necessarily the market. So here's what that conversation should actually sound like. So a homeowner says, why is this so much more expensive than the last time we got a quote or the last time we did something to our system? The wrong answer is getting defensive or blaming vague things like inflation. But a better answer sounds like this. So totally fair question. A few things have changed since your last system or estimate or whatever. Equipment costs are higher across the industry because of new refrigerant regulations and material costs. On top of that, installation standards and compliance requirements have increased. So the job takes more time and documentation than it used to, which is why our costs have gone up and our prices have gone up. And then you just pause. And if the homeowner pushes again and says, well, another company was cheaper and they quoted me something cheaper, that response should stay calm and factual. So sounds something like, some companies are quoting equipment only and some are cutting corners on compliance or warranty coverage, which is illegal. We price the full installed system, including everything required to do it correctly today, not the way it was done last month or years ago. So that framing does two important things. It explains the change without apologizing, and it shifts the comparison away from price alone and toward the job that is actually being done. And that's the difference between losing a deal on price and winning it on clarity to your customer. So one signal to keep an eye on is that manufacturers are talking more openly about long-term investment in commercial and infrastructure projects, which could keep residential supply tighter than expected. So nothing actionable there yet, but it's worth watching and we'll keep an eye on it. And that's the update for today. If something changes in the trades, we will always cover it here. This is the Trades Brief.